Okay. Okay, so let's discuss atoms, no? So, kailan ba nagkaroon ng idea about atoms, no? So, before, they really don't know what makes up everything, no? For example, this scotch tape in here, this masking tape, they don't know how it is made, um, to what particle it is made from, no? For example, itong calculator ko rin, no? They even don't know what makes up this calculator. So, the first thing that philosophers try to do is to rationalize, no, about the composition of matter, no. And so, nag-isip sila that saan kaya gawa yung mga bagay, no? So, the idea or the conception of the idea of atoms, no, started with Democritus, no. So, what Democritus did is that, for example, kuha tayong papel, no? Yeah. Okay. So, for example, I have here a paper, no? So, for example, this is my matter, okay? So, if I'm going to cut this into half, and okay, so I cut into half, I have two different, ano no, two different particles this time. No? So, the first half and the second half, diba? Then, ano gagawin ko ulit, no? So, I will cut it again into half, no? So, yan. So, what I have now is 1/4 of the original particle. Then, I will cut this again into half. Lang, hirap mag-cut. So, I now have 1/8 of the particle. No, 1/8 of the particle or the matter. Then, cut into half, 1/16, 1/32, then 1/64 of the original particle. So on and so forth until you come up with something that you cannot separate you cannot cut anymore, no? So yeah. So the idea is that according to Democritus, if we cut our particles or our matter infinitely, there will be a time that we cannot divide it any further, no? And then he coined the Greek term atomos, no? Because atomos literally means uncuttable. Okay, so you cannot cut it anymore. So that's the idea of atoms, no? Yung idea na there's something that you cannot cut any longer because it is very, very small, no? So according to Democritus, these atomos, no, make up everything around us. No? They make up all the matter that is around us. No? Okay, so that idea is widely acceptable for the fact that Democritus is a very known philosopher, and as well as it is logical, no? Logical din naman because everyone can verify, di ba? The idea of atomos, no? So I just showed you that the idea of atomos is somehow true, no? Kasi if I continue cutting this paper, I will come up with the particle size that I cannot cut anymore because it is very small, di ba? Okay, so yun. So the first conception of the idea of atoms is that Democritus um, defined these atoms, no, as particles that cannot be cut anymore, no, so, because they are very, very small, no. Okay, so that's why we have the term atoms, no, because of Democritus. So yun. So it is the basic block or the basic chemical building block of matter as well. No? So everything is made of these atomos, no, according to Democritus. No? Then centuries later, look, we started with Democritus' idea on 460 BC. The next modification of this chemical idea was just around 17th century, no? So imagine, no, it is very acceptable for ilang years, no? So ang daming century nakalipas, tanggap pa rin yung idea ni Democritus. Kasi it seems true naman, no? But yun nga, as science progresses, we need more answers, no? We have more questions and then we're looking for better answers, no? So Yun, so as science progresses into a different field from philosophy, no? Kasi originally all the field of knowledge we know today, no? They all came up from from philosophy. So science is a part of that, no? So yun. So since science separated from the rest of the philosophy world, no? So yun, it tried to be more experimental, no? More analytical. So therefore, it needs proof, no, para sa mga iba't ibang ideas, no. So it needs proof, bakit ganito, bakit ganyan, no. So the first person, no, to revisit all the ideas presented uh, by Democritus is John Dalton, no. So John Dalton, zoom natin onte, no. Okay, so John Dalton tried experimenting on different chemicals, no, and then he came up with this Dalton's atomic theory, no. Okay, actually usually 4 lang to, no. So itong 5, this is similar with 4. But anyway, so we will discuss all of this, no. So yun, so by doing chemical experiments, no, Dalton came up with an idea about the identity of the atom, no, so its properties, no. So according to John Dalton, number one, atomic theory niya is number one, matter is made up of very, very tiny indivisible particles called atoms. No? So this is somehow similar with the idea of atoms presented by Democritus. Diba? According to Democritus, matter is composed of atomos, no? The indivisible particles. So, yan. So makikita natin that uh, Dalton just enhanced the idea of Democritus. No? So, yan. So, yun yung first part. Matter is made up of atoms or atomos. No? So, yun. So, number two, all atoms of a given element have the same chemical properties. No? So, this is a product of his experimentation, wherein elements of carbon, they react differently to the elements of oxygen. No? For example, oxygen or hydrogen gas, they burn, uh, pero let's say yung metal, they do not burn. No? So that is one characteristic of different chemical compounds. No? That not all elements have the same properties. No? So they are unique in such way na yun, they react differently, they behave differently, no? So yun. So number two again, if you have atoms of the same element, they will behave the same, no? Or they will have the same chemical properties, no? So number three, in ordinary chemical reactions, no atoms of any element disappears or is changed into an atom of another. So what it tells us is that the atoms, no, in a chemical reaction, no, uh, they never change naman, no. No. So for example, in chemical reaction, I burn my paper. Okay, so I burn this paper. So burning this paper, no, will result in the formation of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and carbon in the form of soot, no. So yung kulay itim, yung char, no. Yung char, hindi siya yung char lang. Yung char, I mean, uling, no? Uling yan. So, yan. So, what happened there is that when you do chemical reactions, the atoms just rearranges, no? They just change their partners, no? So, that means that atoms are never lost, no, or never created in a chemical reaction, which is somehow similar to the idea of the law of conservation of matter. No? So this part actually is the law of conservation of matter. No? So in chemical reactions, atoms do not disappear nor just appear. No, they just change their partners in a chemical reaction. So, yun yung simplest statement na pwede kong mabigay sa inyo. So, yun. So, this third postulate, no, is the idea na matter is conserved, no. So yun. Number 4, compounds are formed by the chemical combination of two or more different kinds of atoms. Okay, so this now is the idea of multiple proportions, no? Okay, or definite proportions, no? So the idea is that atoms will come together, no, to form um, compounds, no, and their different ratios, no, will correspond into different kinds of molecules. No? For example, we have carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. No? Saan ba yung ballpen? Ay, wala siya. Ay, wala. For example, we have carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. No? So the proportion of molecules, of atoms in carbon dioxide is that I have two carbons, two oxygens pala. Two oxygens to one carbon. No? For carbon monoxide, that's one oxygen, no? One oxygen to one carbon, no? Okay, so because of their different ratios, no? So makikita natin the ratio are not the same, no? So that means the two molecules are different then, no? Carbon monoxide is very toxic, no? When inhaled, no? It can actually disrupt the oxygen intake of your hemoglobin molecules, no? So ito very much dangerous than this one, no? The carbon dioxide. So yun lang. So yun, so nagbago yung kanilang chemical properties, no? Because of just changing the ratios of your compound, okay? Yung number 5, that is just the 4, no? So, apat lang kasi talaga yan, no? So, okay. So, anyway, so let's sum up what Dalton did, no? So, what Dalton did is that he redefined or he made the ideas of Democritus more appealing to science, no? So, more appealing in the sense that it is backed up by experiments, no? So atoms, no, according to Democritus, it is just a very, very small particle that you cannot cut anymore, no? Hence the term atomos or atoms, no? But John Dalton, no, what he did is that, yun, he did experiments and then came up with his 4 postulates in his atomic theory, no? Stating the uh, complete idea about atom, no? Ayun, so the first idea or the first postulate is that everything is still composed of atoms, no? These are indivisible particles, and atoms of a given chemical element have the same chemical properties, no? Then number 3, this is the law of conservation, that atoms cannot be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction because they only change their partners, no? Then number 4, compounds are formed by different chemical combinations. So if you have different combinations of atoms, that means you are forming a different compound now. Okay, so that seems quite acceptable, and it is true, no? Because the next modification on the idea of Dalton's atomic theory was around 18th century pa, no? So mga 100 years din natanggap yung idea ni Dalton, no? So it was accepted for about 100 years, no? Then Thomson came, Thomson came up with another idea on the atoms, no? So according to Thomson, no? So when you put electricity or when you apply the electricity on your atoms, something happens, no? So ano yung nangyayari? Ano yung something na yun, no? So pakita ko yung picture na lang, no? Medyo sad yung PowerPoint na yan, eh. Okay, so this is the discovery of electron, no? So what happened, no? According to J.J. Thomson, no? So when you apply electricity to your particle, no, it emits it emits particles din, no? So sabi niya, ibig sabihin pala, yung particle, may particle pa sa loob, no? For example, I have an atom of metal. Wala akong metal around me. Let's say I have a block of copper or block of iron, no? So when apply electricity to that, no? Okay, dito yung sa mga cathode and anode, high voltage, no? That means sasaksak mo siya sa kuryente. What will happen is that the metal particles, no? Let's say the particles, no? Will emit something that is electrically charged, no? Okay, so paano niya nalaman na electrically charged, no? So originally, so kunwari, itong nasa right hand side natin, wala kasing laser to eh. So, eto, ayun yung mouse. For example, on the right side, yung naka-usli na yun, let's say that's iron, no? And the two wires, they complete the circuit, no? So anyway, so if I apply high voltage to my, let's say, iron, what happens is that it emits this ray, no? It emits that light, no? So that means, no, ang idea ni J.J. Thomson is that there may be something inside the atoms pa, no? Okay, so may something inside the atoms. So that means may particles sa loob ng tiniest particles. No? So yun yung idea niya. Then after that, no, what he did is that he placed magnets, no, around the tube, no. We call that the cathode ray tube, no. Okay. So by applying the magnet, no. Okay. So for example, this is the positive part of your magnet, itong white, no. What will happen is that these rays will be deflected towards the positive magnet, no. So in negative, ito yung particles, then it is getting attracted to the positive side of the magnet. So that should give you an idea that the charge of this particle, this ray of particle, should be something negative, no? Because remember that positives are attracted to negatives, di ba? Okay, so alam natin yung idea na yon. So ganun din dito, no? The positive attracts the negative particles in it, no? But to further confirm that, no? Ayun, so ginawa niya is that he applied, he pointed the negative side of the magnet, no? So the negative side ng magnet, then what happened is that the particles get deflected, no? Lumayo yung particles, no? So that confirms nga na negative yung charge ng particles na yan, no? Because remember, same charges repel, di ba? So yun yung nangyari dyan, no? Okay, so going back, no? Ayun, so going back, no? That means Thomson just discovered something that is inside the smallest particle in nature, no? So ibig sabihin may particles pa sa loob ng particles, no? Then later on, no, with few experimentations, no, and discussions, he came up with this idea that an atom is just composed of a huge positive center with the negative particles embedded onto it, no? He then called those negative particles the electrons, no? Originally, hindi electrons tawag dyan, no? But, yun. So, yun. Medyo, I don't know the story behind the name, no? Pero alam ko, hindi yan yung name niya talaga, no? Electrons, no? So, yan. So, electrons, these are the particles embedded, no? Ayan. So, these are the particles embedded, no? On the surface of your positive center. Ito yung atom, then nakapatong yung mga electrons around it, no? Hence the term the plum pudding model, no? So this is a very favorite delicacy in England, no? Yung plum pudding, no? So ano lang yan, para siyang cake na may raisins, no? So yan. So yun yung idea. So Thomson's idea is that the particles or the atoms still consist of tiny particles pa rin, no? Okay, hence the conception of the idea of electrons, no? So, yun. Okay. So, it seems okay, no? Pero yun nga, it still needs modification. So, few years after that discovery, no, Rutherford made his another experiment, no. It is called uh, the a- the ano yun? It is called the alpha scattering, no. So yun. Walang ayan, no. Okay, so ito yung setup niya, no. So what Rutherford did is that he placed a radioactive source, ayan yung mouse. So this is the radioactive source, no, on the left side. No, okay, so the radioactive source is enclosed in a lead block, no, on because lead is known to be very good, no, in isolating or or protecting you from radioactive particles, no. That's why that's why the Apollo spacecraft, no, the thing that go and that went to the moon, no, it is covered in lead, no. So yun, it can protect the people inside from the harmful radiation around them, no, emitted by the sun, no. So yun, so lead block, the purpose is to protect everything around you, no, from the radiation, the alpha particles that is emitted by, this is actually radon particles, no. Radon yan, okay. Okay, so then may maliit lang ng butas, no? There is a small orifice in which your alpha particles can pass through, no? Okay. So the purpose of that small orifice, no? Small lang na orifice pa. Or yung maliit na butas, no? Is yun, para one direction lang yung point pag-travel ng particles, no? Only through that direction. Okay? Then, at the end of the setup, we have this curved glass, no, covered in zinc sulfide, no. The purpose is that for it to fluoresce, no, meaning nun para lumiwanag siya, no. Then in here, we have this, we have this gold foil, no. Kaya nga gold foil experiment tawag dito, or the alpha scattering experiment. So yun, no. So ito yung gold foil. Then this is the alpha particles emitted the uh, by the radon. No. So yun. So when radon or the alpha particles hit the gold foil, kasi kung yung idea ni J.J. Thomson lang yung dapat mangyari, dapat straight line lang yan, no? Okay. But what happened, no, is that the rays, no, itong alpha particles, it is scattered around this glass, no. So sabi nila, bakit kaya, no? Ano nangyari? Okay. Ganito kasi, no. What happened, no, according to his rationalization, is that, okay, so these black lines, these are the stream of your alpha particles, no. So yun yung daloy ng alpha particles coming from your radon source on the other side of the experiment, no? Okay. Then what happened, no? Okay, so what happened is that if your alpha particles, which is positive in charge, no, and it struck something that is in the molecule, no, pag may natamaan siya na particle dito sa atom, what happened is that it become deflected, no. So, scattered siya, no. So, yun, may na-deflect, then may nag-bounce back, no. So, gulat siya, ba't may nag-bounce back, no. So, dapat kasi straight line lang yan, no, if Dalton's Thomson's atomic theory is true, no. Pero yun, anong nangyari? May nag-deflect, no. May napunta sa pataas, may bumalik, no. So, it means it hit something that is on the center of your atom, no. Okay. So, nag-isip siya, no. So, gamitin natin uli yung magnet logic natin. So, magnet logic, if these particles are positive, no, the only reason that it will become deflected is when it hits positive particles din, no? Okay. So, kailangan may positive particle sa loob ng atom para ma-deflect yung rays, no? Because yung negative particles, wala naman silang gagawin, no? Negatives love positives, di ba? But the positives, no, they don't like the same, no? So, yun. So, gagawin nila, magre-repel sila. Hence, the scattering of the alpha particles, no? Okay, so may nag-backfire, may nag-bend, no? Ayan, so yun yung idea. Okay, so according to his rationalization is that the atom consists of a tiny particle inside, no? May maliit daw na portion yan na positive yung charge, no? And that positive charge particle inside the atom is called the nucleus, no? That's why um, Rutherford's atomic model is called the nuclear model because in his experiment, we came up with an idea of the nucleus, no? So, yun. So, nuclear model yan, no? Okay. So, Rutherford, we have the nuclear model, no? Stating that, ayun, there is a positive particle inside your atom, no? Okay. So, that causes deflection, no? So, ito yung comparison niya with J.J. Thomson, no? For J.J. Thomson, dapat kasi straight line lang, no? Parang mangyayari, the electron will just pass through the electrons that is scattered around, no? Pero, dito kay Rutherford, itong model niya, the nuclear model, yun. So, the atom is mostly an empty space, no? Wherein yung empty space that is not technically the empty talaga, no? There are electrons around that, no? But on its center, it contains a very concentrated particle, no? And may concentrated mass dyan, which is positive in charge, which we call the nucleus, no? Okay, hence the discovery of the nuclear model. So we started with an idea that everything is made of indivisible particles. Then that indivisible particles contains electrons, no? Then later on, may neutrons din daw pala siya, no? So that means our atomic particles have subatomic particles, no? So when you say subatomic particles, these are particles smaller than the atoms, no? Which are the electrons and the neutron, the nucleus pala, no? So, nucleus pa lang pala meron dito. Okay? So, later experiments showed that, yun, according to Chadwick, he discovered the nucleus contains the positive and the negative charges, no? So, yun, he called the neutral charges the neutrons, no? So, ano lang ginawa na dito? More on experiment, no? But too much physics na yun. So, yun. So, alam niyo naman, pag physics, mapapano ka na lang. Okay. So, yun. So, the idea is that Chadwick did some X-ray experiments on atoms. Then, he discovered that there's a neutral particle inside the nucleus, while the rest are positive particles now. So, yan. So, ibig sabihin, the nucleus is composed of positive and negative charge, neutral and positive charges pala, no? He called the neutral particles the neutrons, and the positive particles are called protons, no? Yan. So, however, they have the same mass though electrically speaking, they are not the same, no? So, neutron, they have no charges, but protons have, no? Yun. So, they are identical, pero saan sila magkaiba sa charges, no? So, Chadwick just discovered the idea of, neutron, no? So, yeah. So, kanino sir, binigay yung credit for the proton, no? The positive charge. Binigay yung credit kay Rutherford kasi siya yung naka-discover ng positive inside the atom. So, yun. Then, later on, science progressed from simple stuff to much more calculus-based stuff, no? Kasi marami ng math, no? Dati ang math lang sa chemistry, multiplication, division. Ngayon may calculus na, no? So, yan. Medyo amazing because it allowed discovery of more ideas, no? Yun, na-test yung ideas ng tao to its limits, no? Yun, so, we have Niels Bohr, who started the uh, the conceptualization of the quantum mechanics, no? Quantum mechanics is a very hard subject, no? It involves lots of calculus, no? Pero yun, no, it is very important as well because it allows us, no, to mathematically express our atoms, no? So we can express the atoms in terms of math equations, which is quite amazing, no? But it's hard to do. So yeah. Okay, so going back na. So according to Niels Bohr, he focused on the electrons this time. No? Okay, so as you can see, in Rutherford's model, no, siyempre na-debunk na yung Thomson model. No? So, in Rutherford's model, the electrons are just swirling around the nucleus. No? Si Chadwick wala naman siya na-contribute masyado. More on the nucleus siya nag-focus. No? So, this is the accepted model that time. No? The nuclear model. No? So you can see electrons are just moving around, no? They are moving around the positive center. Ito yung parang Jimmy Neutron, di ba? Jimmy Neutron model. Okay. But according to Niels Bohr, that's wrong, no? Because there are some phenomena that cannot be described by that model, no? For example, if you are going to heat your metal, no? Pag initin niyo yung metal sa apoy, syempre sa apoy, no? What happens, no? It glows daw, no? Lumiliwanag yung particles pag naiinitan. Hindi dahil sa nasusunog siya, but because of the electrons are getting excited, no? Hey, what happens when electrons get excited, no? So, yun, tumatalon-talon sila, no? So, they jump from different energy levels, no? And that jump, no, that corresponds to a certain wavelength of light, no, producing colors, no. For example, yung bakal, di ba? Pag yung bakal, nilagay niyo sa apoy, mamumula. What happens is that the electrons are jumping from one energy level to another energy level in such way that it emits red light, no. Isa pang example, the fireworks, di ba? Fireworks, iba-iba yung colors, di ba? Okay, so iba-iba yung colors ng fireworks. So, ano nangyari? Kasi, iba-iba yung metals inside the fireworks, no? So, different metals correspond to different, they correspond to different colors, no? Because of their electrons. Okay, and because electrons are located in energy levels, no? So, yun yung idea ni Niels Bohr na may colors because their electrons jumping from one energy level to another energy level. Hence, the emancipation of the idea of the, ang tawag dito, planetary model, no? Or the orbital model. Pero mas acceptable sa akin yung planetary model kasi look ko para siyang planet, no? Okay, so in the center, near the center pala, no, the first energy level, so you have this one energy level 1, no? It is capable daw of accepting 2 electrons only. Then the second energy level is capable of accepting 8 electrons this time. Then the third energy level is capable of accepting 10 plus 6 plus 2, 18, no? So, yan. So, yan. And so on and so forth, no? So, yun yung idea, no? So, I know you know this already, no? Yung mga energy levels, mga half-filled orbitals, no? So, we'll not do those stuff anymore because they are quite junior high school pa. Junior high school na yung idea na we'll focus more on the important stuff na lang. Okay, so the idea of the planetary model is resulted from the question why atoms emit certain wavelength. Now, bakit kaya ganito yung color niya? Niels Bohr answer for that is that because electrons jump from one energy level to another, and if it oscillates in that energy level, it produces wavelength. No? So may light na napoproduce. No? Okay. So yun. So yun lang naman. No? But later on, since naging fancier na yung calculus, mas naging amazing na siya. So yun. With the much more understanding of quantum mechanical models, or the quantum mechanics, so people are able to visualize the structure of atoms based on statistics. So according to quantum mechanical model, this is actually the model described by Erwin Schrödinger. So yan. Erwin Schrödinger and friends. So yan. So marami silang friends na nag-agree with this model. And this is the model that we accept today. Okay. So yun. So what happened here is that instead of electrons just moving around orbits, we will not expect orbits talaga, sabi nila. That's too simple. Kasi if quantum mechanics is hard, the model should be hard. Parang yun yung idea nila. Pero totoo naman, okay. This is too simplified na parang the electrons are just moving in this plane, But in reality, atoms occupies 3D space, di ba? 3D yan Hindi yan flat, Like the solar system. So 3D yan. So instead, what happens to electrons is that they fill the orbitals in different shapes, So yan. So may shape na ganyan, wherein the electrons can be found, in these regions, Ayan. So more on statistics, So yan. That the probability of electrons can be found in the electron clouds, So yan. So we have different types of electron clouds. We have the spherical, the dumbbell, the cloverleaf, and the other crazy shapes, which I cannot describe any longer. Pero yun, to visualize, hanap tayo dito kung nandito ba yung picture. Ay, wala dito. Ito. Ayan, so the idea of the quantum mechanical model led to the shapes of orbitals, the shape in which the electrons can be found. So yeah, we have the spherical or the s orbital, the p orbitals or the dumbbells, d orbitals, the cloverleaf, and I call this hotdog na nasa donut. Ito yung, ito yung donut. This is the donut. Ito yung hotdog. So yun. So apat na cloverleaf at isang merienda. And then the crazy stuff. Ayun, hindi ko na siya ma-describe. Too complicated. Ayun. So wala na rin yan talagang pangalan. So yun. So I started with this idea from Niels Bohr that electrons orbit in certain energy levels, but that was disputed by Heisenberg, Schrödinger, De Broglie. So yun, nag-present sila ng quantum mechanical models, So yan, so according to them, they do not really orbit around the atoms. Instead, they can be found in shapes, in clouds of electrons, similar to that of our clouds, Yung water molecules sa paligid, andyan sila, yes, but they can be more visualized through clouds. So, pag nakakita ka ng clouds, may water particles dyan. Ganon din dito sa atoms. Parang, itong shape na to, andyan yung electrons. Most of the electrons can be found in there. So, that's the idea. And that's the part for the atomic models. Okay, so let's summarize, para nare-recall talaga tayo. So, let's summarize. We started with Democritus, the idea of indivisible or atomos. That was further developed into more scientific approach by Dalton, no? John Dalton, he came up with the atomic theory consisting of four postulates. First postulate is that matter is composed of atoms. It is composed of tiny particles called atoms. Number two, atoms of the same element behave the same. But if they are of different elements, then they will have different behaviors or different properties now. So number three, uh, in chemical reactions, atoms do not disappear or appear, no? Hindi sila appear, disappear, no? Hindi rin sila nagiging one half, one fourth. Isang buo pa rin sila, daw, no? Isang buo daw sila. What just happened is that they changed their partners, no? Okay. For example, yung gasolina, yung partner ni carbon doon is hydrogen, no? If you burn gasolina, ang mangyayari is that carbon will change its partner from hydrogen to oxygen, no? Forming carbon dioxide, no? So, yun. Minsan naman gusto niya loner lang siya, di magiging uling siya, no? So, that's the idea. The number four, that compounds are formed by specific proportions, no? Or the law of definite proportions, no? That means different proportions of chemical compounds will result in different molecules, no, with different properties. No? Then Thomson modified the model of atom, no, into his plum pudding model by the discovery of electrons, no, in his famous cathode ray tube experiment. No? Note nyo yun. Actually, you can rewatch this naman. So he had this cathode ray tube experiment wherein if you if you applied very high voltage to your metal, it will emit particles that is attracted to the positive magnet, no, or the positive charge. No? And since it is attracted to positive charge, it should be, no, the particles emitted should be negative in charge, no, by law of electrostatics, di ba? So yun. So yung negative particles, it is later on coined into the term electrons, no. So yun. Then Rutherford, no, he's not very satisfied with that, no. Say if the atom is composed of tiny particles, no, there should be more tiny particles in it, no. So yun. So he did this alpha scattering or the gold foil experiment. Kayo bahala kung anong term tawagin yun. Basta yung may nag-scatter, no. So yun yung idea. So Rutherford's model, yun. So what he did is that he beamed alpha particles into a gold foil containing gold atoms. Then what happened is that the alpha particles are scattered, no? Scattered around the fluorescent bulb, no? Or the fluorescent glass. No? So that led to an idea that the particles have a concentrated center, which is positive in charge as well. So when that alpha particles hit that center, it will deflect, no, or will bounce back, no? Depending on the case, no. And pwede mag-bounce back, it can deflect, no. Yeah. So hence the idea that there is something positive in there, and he called that center the nucleus, no. Chadwick, he just discovered the neutrons now by doing some X-ray experiments and the experiments on the effective nuclear charge, no, which is too complicated to discuss na. No? So yun. But anyway, so yun, he came up with an idea that the nucleus is not just a whole chunk of particle, no. It is composed of much more smaller stuff, no. So yun. So nagkaroon ng distinction between two different particles inside the nucleus. So if you have the positive particles, no, tawag doon ay proton. If you have the neutral particles, tawag doon ay neutron. No? They are identical. However, the masses, ay nababula na ako. They are identical because of the masses, but their charges are not the same. No? So, yun lang idea ni Chadwick. No? Later on, in 19th century, no, Ito na yung kasagsagan na pala to ng World Wars, no? So, yun. So, Niels Bohr came up with an idea of this planetary model wherein your electrons orbit the nucleus, no? Yun lang. Then, in the modern days of science, maybe this was around after World War, no? No, so yung mga ganun, no? After World War II, for sure. So, yun. What happened here is that instead of finding electrons in orbit, no, according to the quantum mechanical model, no, electrons can be found instead in shapes, no, in orbit, electron clouds, no, in orbitals, no. So yun. So that led to different shapes of your orbitals, so on and so forth. Okay. Okay naman kayo dyan. So yun, no. So that's just it, no. Yan yung history ng atomic model, no. This time, we know our atom, mali itong model na to, okay. Because this tells us that yun, naka-orbit siya in nucleus instead, no. Dapat naka-cloud lang siya, no. But anyway, this is a good picture of your atom, no. So around your nucleus, you have your electrons, which is negative in charge. This can bounce off, no, or this can also be attracted by the nucleus, no. So pag nawala yung electron, may nangyayari sa atom, it becomes positive in charge, no. If dagdagan yung electron, it becomes negative in charge, no. So yun yung idea. Okay, then what else? Yeah, so inside the nucleus, you have your protons, which contains the positive charges, and the neutrons being neutral. No? Okay, so yan yung idea ng atoms. No? Okay, so when we are pertaining to the mass of the atoms, no, the only factor that makes up the mass of your atom is these two things in your nucleus. No? So that means your atomic mass is just composed of your protons plus the neutrons na. So yung mass ng iyong atom, mostly siya ay dahil sa mass ng protons and neutrons na. Electrons, no, medyo negligible siya in the sense that it is very, very, very tiny, no, to be observed, no, yung mass nila, no. So yun. So when we are pertaining to atomic mass, proton and neutron lang talaga yung pinag-uusapan. The electron, not really, no? So, yeah. So, atomic mass is the sum of the number of protons and the number of neutrons, no? How about, atomic charge, no? So, I'm giving you the equations that we will use in the future. When I say future, sa today yun and sa Friday, no? So, yeah. So, atomic mass is proton plus neutrons. Atomic charge. Okay, so charge, no? So charge is just protons minus electrons, no? The difference between the positives and the negatives, no? So that means if your atom consists of the same number of protons and electrons, 15 protons, ano yung element number 15? Phosphorus, no? So if phosphorus contains 15 protons, no, it should also contain 15 electrons for it to be zero in charge or neutral. But if it loses its electron, what will happen is that pag nabawasan yung electron niya, nabawasan tong electron, marami ng proton, marami ng positive, no? So a big number minus a small number corresponds to a positive value. Hence, the charge of your atom, if your electron is lost, magiging positive siya. However, if electron is gained, no, pag tumanggap siya ng electron, what happens is that the electrons number increases. Siyempre, tumanggap siya. But the proton is still the same, di ba? So, small number minus big number results to a negative number or negative charge, no? If your atom is positive in charge, we call that the cation, and if it is negative in charge, we call that the anion. So, yun lang yung mga idea. Atomic mass, proton plus neutron, atomic charge, proton minus electrons, and atomic number. This is just the number of protons. No? Okay. So, yan. So, number of protons lang yung atomic number. No? So, yan. So, per element, iba-iba yung dami ng proton. Ayan. Sige. So, ito pala yung mga iba pang stuff, no? Okay. So, yan. Proton, positive, negative, zero. As you can see, no? Proton and neutron are similar in masses. However, look at electron. Times 10 raised to negative 28, no? So, very small to be observed, no? Atomic mass units, no? Neutron is quite heavier than proton, but yan na, they are similar pa rin, no? As compared to the electrons, no? It is just 0.0005, no? And these are their location. But anyway, no? What else, no? Okay, we represent our atoms in this symbol, the nuclear symbol, no? So we represent the atoms in that notation wherein your atomic symbol is placed here. The atomic number is placed on the bottom left, no? And on the top left, on the top left, you have your atomic mass. Then, if your atom contains charge, no, may number tayong nilalagay dyan, no, charge. So, this is how we represent our atoms, no. This is the nuclear symbol, no. So, we represent the atom with its atomic symbol, which you can find in your periodic table, your atomic number on the bottom, your atomic mass on the top, and on the right side naman, you have your charge here, no? So, it could be positive 1, negative 1, so on and so forth, no? But yun yung idea. Okay? So, yan. So, ito yung mga kwento natin kanina, no? Okay. Sige, mamaya magpa-practice pa tayo dyan, no? So, yan. Isotopes tayo. Okay? So, ano naman yung isotopes, no? Okay. So, kasi ganito, no? Look at your periodic table. So, I have one here with me. Teka lang. Dito na lang. Among us. ML. At a periodic table. Okay. So, let's look at the periodic table, diba? Sabi natin, atomic mass is proton plus neutron. Hence, that must be a whole number. Dapat whole number yung atomic mass, diba? But look, hydrogen, may decimal. May decimal din. Parang kahit saan, no? Kahit saan nata may decimal, no? Ayan, no? Ang dami yung decimal, diba? Ayan, no? So, ano ma-observe natin, no? The atomic mass pala that is written on our periodic table, may decimal point, no? May decimal place. Bakit? Kasi may isotopes, no? When we say isotopes, these are atoms of the same element, but they differ in the number of neutrons, or they differ in their mass number, no? Okay, so when you have isotopes, you have the same element, but they differ in the number of neutrons. Here, hence, they also differ in terms of masses. No? So let's take a look. For carbon, we have three common isotopes. We have carbon 12, carbon 13, and carbon 14. No? So yan. So, yung 12 sa carbon na yan, it consists of 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Ay, demonyo pala siya, no? 666. But anyway, for carbon-13, which is another version of carbon, what happened is that it contains more neutron than the carbon-12. Hence, its mass number will also be increased to 1. No? So, magiging 13 na siya because of the added neutron. For carbon-14, ayun. So, nagkaroon ng 2 additional neutron from the original. Okay? So, yan. So, the periodic table cannot hold, no? Hindi niya kaya ilagay lahat ng individual isotopes, no? Sa periodic table. Kasi, onti lang yung slots niya, no? Hanggang 118 lang, no? Question, no? Sir, paano pag may nag-discover na bagong experiment, na bagong element? Saan siya ilalagay sa periodic table? Good question yun kasi nag-isipan din nila yun eh. Even until now, no? So, I'm reading articles na, yun, paano daw kapag may na-discover, saan mo siya ilalagay? Most likely, magagawa tayo ng bagong period daw sa periodic table. Yun yung sabi nila. But anyway, no? So, yun. Our periodic table is small enough to write all the isotopes, no, as is, no. So, hindi mo siya pwede ilagay na carbon-12, carbon-13, carbon-14 kasi sobrang dami. Instead, you want to compress the elements, no, based on the protons na lang, no, not considering the neutrons, no. So, paano nila nakuha yung atomic mass ng carbon being paano naging 12.011 yung atomic mass ng carbon instead of 11, 12, 13, 14. No? So, ang ginawa lang nila dito is that they use this equation. No? So, the atomic mass, so yeah. So, the atomic mass of all atoms, no? in general, ha? This is just the sum, ay, may ganun, the sum of your isotope mass times their fractional abundance. No? Because, yan, different isotopes correspond to different percentages. No? Hindi naman lahat ng carbon may carbon-14 because carbon-14 is radioactive. No? Carbon-12 is neutral. No? So, not all carbons na meron sa bahay natin, sa uling, sa kahoy, sa papel, sa upuan, sa mga plastics, no? Hindi sila lahat carbon-14 naman. Hindi naman sila lahat carbon-13, no? Okay. So, you cannot also separate these carbons because they all look the same, no? And there's no way to separate atoms talaga. So, yun. So, instead, no, in order to account for the different mass numbers, we use this equation, no? The atomic mass is the sum of the product of your isotope mass times your fractional abundance. No? The fractional abundance is given. The isotope mass is given. So, ano na lang yung natira sa atin? You just multiply them, no? And you add all the products, no? Giving you the exact atomic mass that you can see on your periodic table. No? Sir, paano nila na-discover yung fractional abundance pati yung isotope mass? No? Good question because the answer is through the use of mass spectrometer. No? So, yun. So, they use mass spectrometer. What is a mass spectrometer? That is an instrument, no? That is used to identify the masses of each atom. No? Kada atom, titignan niya yung masses. No? Kung 11, kung 12, kung 13, kung 14. Then, while identifying the atomic masses, no, it also charts out, no, ginagraph niya yung percentages nila from one to another, no. Kaya pwede natin makuha yung fractional abundance talaga with experiments than the isotope mass, no. Another use of mass spectrometer is it is used in identifying molecules, no. May drug testing nga, no. So, pag magpapadrug test, no, pinapadaan nila yan sa GCMS, gas chromatography mass spectrometer. So, yun. So, ano lang ginagawa nun, no? Yung drugs na present, yung mga chemicals na present sa dugo, no? So, ina-analyze niya based on atomic masses, no? Ang drugs kasi, for example, nicotine, no? It represents a certain number of mass. Pag nakita ng instrument na may mass dito, kunwari sa 100, kunwari may peak doon sa 100, ibig sabihin lang, no? Nag-drug si tao, no? So, yun. So, that's the idea. Okay, so let's apply all the, kasi tapos na yung slide natin, no? Our discussion is already done. We're left with ano na lang, with the application of all our lessons, no? So ano yung kailangan natin i-apply? Siyempre yung equations natin dito. And then, itong equation for the atomic mass na. So, yun. Okay, so let's do that, no? Okay. Baka may questions kayo, ha? You may want to raise it muna. Or okay naman na. Familiar pa naman kayo dito sa mga ito, no? Sige, I guess wala pang question. If you have questions, just raise your hand or message nyo sa sa meeting chat, no? Anyway, so let's start our activity, no? Sige. Okay, so I hope you have your worksheet with you. Onti lang yung laman ng worksheet kasi onti lang naman yung gagawin natin, no? Yan, yung favorite table natin noong tayo ay bata pa. Okay. So fill in the table below. You have your nuclear symbol in here. So these are the nuclear symbols. The charges are also in here. Protons, neutrons, electrons. Okay. So, fill out natin to, ha. So, I want you to participate, no? So, mamaya magtatawag tayo ng ibang tao, no, that can help me filling out this table because ang dami. Okay. So, I'll begin with the first number. Teka, lagyan natin ng number. 1, 2. Okay. Ayan. Okay. So, for the first number, ano meron ako dito? I have 0 charge, no? So, when you have 0 charge, ano sabi natin? Sulat ko muna yung equations here. Atomic mass, proton plus neutron. Atomic charge, proton minus electron. Atomic number, proton. Okay. So, sabi natin, no, if you have 0 charge, that means the difference between protons and electrons is 0. So, kailan magiging 0 yung difference ng dalawang number? If they are the same, di ba? So, that means if 0 yung charge, I also have 9 electrons, no? Because 9 minus 9 is 0, di ba? Wow, amazing. Sige. So, yan. So, I have 9 protons, I have 9 electrons here. Then, yan. Ngayon, I'm going to fill the nuclear symbol column naman, no? Okay. So, in filling out the nuclear symbol column, so I have to write my element in this manner, no? So, I have the element symbol, the number, atomic number here, the mass number, and the charge there, no? Okay. So, sige. I have proton equal to 9. Anong element kaya yung pang-siyam? Tingin tayo sa periodic table, no? By the way, periodic table isn't meant to be memorized. I hate memorization. So, dapat kayo rin, no? Hindi. The reason why we have periodic table nga is, yun nga, hindi siya dapat may memorize, no? Sinasabuhan yan. Sa lecture nyo malalaman kung bakit, no? Okay. So, yung pang-siyam na element ko is fluorine. So, the atomic symbol fluorine is just F. Then, on the bottom left side, I'm going to write the atomic number, which is just the proton. So, lagay ko yung 9 here. Then, atomic mass. No? Kanina, sabi natin, atomic mass is the proton plus the neutrons. Diba? Okay. So, 9 plus 10 is 19. Then, for charge, if your charge is 0, wala ka nang ilalagay. No? Pero if that corresponds to positive or negative values, you're going to write them now. So that's how we're going to fill out this table, no? So yan. So sagot akong isa, no? Itong may charge naman. So number 3, sasagutan ko. So I have here proton, which is 27, and charge of positive 3. That should give me an idea that the number of electron is less than the number of proton, no? Kasi positive yung difference nila, no? So if positive 3 to, the proton is 27, what is electron? We can do some algebra there, no? So sabi natin, that's charge equals proton minus electron. Positive 3 is equals to 27. 27 ba? 27 minus electrons. Ano na lang gagawin natin, no? We'll do some algebra, okay? So I'm going to subtract both sides by 27. No? Okay. So I have negative 24 here, and I have negative electron here. Multiply it by negative 1. I have 24 electrons. No? Ayan, pinakita ko lang, pero alam ko kaya nyo na i-mental yan. No? Or you can use your calculator with you if you want. No? So yan. So that means the number of electrons is 24. No? Okay. Then, yan. I'm going to write the nuclear symbol na. So I'm going to look for element number 27. Cobalt. No? So cobalt siya. Cobalt. So, atomic number of proton, which is 27. Cobalt nga. No? Then, atomic mass, that's the sum of your proton and neutrons. So, 27 plus 30, 57. And your charge, this time we have a charge, positive 3. So, I'm going to write plus 3. Okay. So, ganun lang. No? So, that's how you fill out this table. So, I want you to answer number 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no? So, yan. So, I'm going to give you time to fill out that table, no? So, you can take a screenshot and work it out, no? Sa inyong devices or sa paper, no? And later on, may mag-volunteer, no? Para mag-fill out ng table, no? So, help me kasi ang dami na ito, eh, no? So, yun. So, I'll give you time. So, mga siguro 10 minutes, no, for you to fill out that table. Sige. So, I'm going back by 8:53. Okay, so sige. If you have questions, message nyo na lang sa ating chat, no? Sige. Magsasagot po, para productive tayo. Okay, so, sige. Nagbabalik ako. Okay, so let's answer. Ay, namatay. Okay, so let's try to answer the table, no? So, who wants to recite, no? You can use your microphone. Kahit sino na lang, no? Para, yun, no? So, sige, kahit lang. Para ma-recognize ko, hanapin ko yung name. Sa babae. Ay, ang lag. Si Jean Paula. Sige, so Jean Paula, help me sa number 2. So, yun lang, no? Number of proton.
Number of protons po ay 15.
15. Yes. And number of electrons.
Number of electrons po ay 15 din.
15 din. Kasi yung charge ay 0, no? So, yan, very nice. Yung nuclear symbol, papalitan nyo, ha? Kasi, look, question mark siya. So, ang gagawin nyo lang naman is to write 15 sa baba, no? So, yan. Just in case na hindi nyo nakita, no? So, thank you very much, Jean Paula, for that. So, sige. Let's have, nawala yung iba. Nawala yung ibang. Si Tanya, nag-raise ng hand kanina. Sige, si Tanya muna. Sige. So, let's start for number 4. The charge is?
Negative 2 po.
Negative 2 because 16 minus 18 is negative 2. Then how about the symbol? Element symbol? S po, because that's sulfur. Number sa bottom left?
16 po.
And sa top?
32 po.
32. And just the top right side?
2 negative or negative 2.
So, negative 2. So, very nice. Sabi, pwede naman pala magganito sa online class. Sige. Tipid pa sa marker, no? Sige, number 5. Sino yun? Sa Jericho na lang, no? Sige, Jericho. So, protons.
35 po.
35 kasi bromine siya, no?
Yes po.
Neutrons.
44 po.
44 kasi 79 minus 35 is
44 po. Yes po.
Then, electrons.
The same as proton po, 35 po.
Ayan, kasi 0 yung difference nila. So, thank you,
Yes po.
Jericho. Si Zoila. Ayan, si Zoila. Number 6, no? So, electrons.
Yes, sir.
Yung electrons.
Electrons is equal 10, sir.
10 because 7 minus 10 is negative 3.
Negative 3.
So, then,
Element
nuclear
is
symbol. Element symbol is
nitrogen.
nitrogen. Number sa bottom left.
7.
Top left.
14.
Number 14.
14,
And
sir.
on the top right.
Negative 3.
Negative. Yun. So, thank you, Zoila. So, we'll have Jean again. Sige. Number 7. The next si Chris Ben. Sige, Jean. Number 7, electrons.
Number of electrons po ay 28.
28. Kasi 33 minus 28 is positive 5. No? Okay. So, nuclear symbol. Element symbol is?
AS po.
Yung?
AS po.
PS?
AS.
33. AS.
Arsenically.
Ayun. Narinig na kita. The number sa bottom left.
Sir.
Ayan. Sa number sa bottom left.
33 po.
33. Sa top left.
75.
75. No? Kasi 33 plus 42, 75. And the number on the top right is?
Positive 5 po.
Positive 5. No? Sige. Okay. So then we'll have Chris Ben. Ay, ang dami niyan sasagutan, no?
Okay po. So number 8 and
Charge.
charge po is positive 4.
Yes. Proton.
Since the atomic number po is 40, so 40 po.
And neutron.
So ano lang po siya, 90 minus 40. So 50 po is the number of neutron.
Yes.
And then
And
number of electrons is 36.
because
40 minus 4 po sa charge.
so yan, so tama naman, no? Yan, so thank you very much for your participation. Now, you can take a screenshot of this image shown to you, no, for your future reference again. Okay, so let's go to second part ng ating activity, no? So we'll have the following. Ay, ang daming gagawin. Sige. Number 2, how many neutrons are there in a carbon atom of mass number 13? Anyone can raise their hand. Sige. Number 2, how many neutrons are there in letter a carbon atom of mass number 13? Sige, Chris Ben.
A carbon atom, carbon 6. 6 mas number 13 minus 7 po.
7. Because proton is 6.
6.
No? Mass
Okay.
number is 13. So, di ba, alam natin that mass is equal to proton plus neutron. So, for you to solve for neutron, that is just mass minus proton, di ba? Sige. So, that's 13 minus 6, 7. And so, thank you, Chris Ben. Yung ibang persons naman, raise your hand. Letter B, germanium. May nag-alarm. Si Jean, Paula. Germanium.
Ano po? 41 po.
41, no? Bakit, no? The mass number is 73 minus the proton number for germanium is 32. Nag-notif ang red doors. Ayan, so 41 yan. So 41. Okay, letter C. Si Chris Ben uli. Ay. Yung iba, yung iba
Sorry
mamaya.
po, hindi ko po kasi.
Naklik niya lang.
Po.
Okay.
Sige po, osmium. Teka lang po. Osmium.
Wala, ang laki na number.
76. 188 minus 76 po ay
Cannot be.
70. So, 106 po ba ang neutron?
Yes.
Okay po.
Ilan yan? Osmium 76. Calculator na lang namin. Laki ng number. 188 minus 76. 100?
6 po.
112 daw sabi ng
12 po. Okay
So,
po.
112 sabi ni Kaliki. Okay, so let's have letter D. Other people naman. Si Zoila. Sige.
Sir,
Sige.
yung
Hanapin mo
neutron po ng platinum, yung proton ng platinum, since ang atomic number niya is 78, so 78.
sa pa.
And yung neutron, 195 minus 78 is equal to 117 po. Yun po yung neutron.
So, very good, no? Nice one, no? And so, very nice, no? Tama tayo lahat sa answers natin. Okay, so for the next part, no? Okay, so we're going to answer 3 and 4, no? Again, yung electron configuration, I will cover that on Friday na lang, no? Para naman may gawin tayo sa Friday, no? Tsaka para may time pa. para magbasa. Sige. So, we'll do number 3, no? So, again, no? So, sabi natin, no, that the atomic masses represented in your periodic table is just the sum of the isotope mass and the percentage abundance, no? Okay, so pinag-multiply lang yung dalawang factors na yon, then pinag-add in order to get the picture of the average atomic mass of your element, no? Para siyang ano, it's like your grades, no? Your grades is your grades sa chem times the units, no? Your grades in this subject, ANAFI, times the number of units, so on and so forth, to get a picture of your overall evaluation or your overall performance this semester. Diba? Ganun lang din sa elements, no? Because iba-iba yung isotopes natin. They correspond to different masses, no? And different percentages, no? So, yan. So, all we have to do is to get their weighted average, no? Okay. So, let's try number 3. Magnesium consists of 3 isotopes with masses 23.9850 atomic mass units, EMU, 24.9858 atomic mass units, and 25.9826 atomic mass units. The abundance of middle isotope is 10%. Ay, tricky pala tong first question natin. Sige. Ito pala yung formula, no? Pero okay lang para masaya, no? That's sa inyo to eh. Estimate the abundances of the other isotopes, no? Okay. So again, we write the equation. Atomic mass, mass, is the sum of the isotope mass, no, Im, times the fractional abundance, no. Isotope mass, fractional abundance, sabi pa ng iba. Sige. So yan, so atomic mass, the sum of isotope mass and fractional abundance. So let's tabulate all the information that we have muna. So we have isotope mass here, their corresponding fractional abundance. Tabulate natin para we can see. Ayan. Okay. So isotope mass, so sabi dyan, ito yung first isotope, di ba? Second isotope, and the third isotope. So, let's copy the number. Number na lang. Nakatamad eh. 23.9850. 24.9858. And 25. Pangit ng 5. 25.9826. Fractional abundance. Sabi, the abundance of the middle isotope is 10%. So, this is 10% now. Estimate the abundances of the other isotope, no? So, question mark to. Question mark to. Question mark din yun, no? Then, sabi dito, the average atomic mass, no? Which is given. Average atomic mass, no? Is 24. 305. Okay. So, ayan na. Sige. So, let's look at the problem. So, we're given with atomic mass. So, this time, hindi natin hanapin si atomic mass because it is already given. What we are interested with is the fractional abundance of these two. Ngayon, we cannot just write, hindi pwede isulat yung 100 minus 10 equals 90 divided by 2, 45. So, hindi pwede ganun, no? 45 yan, 45 10. No. Because, kailangan isolve mo siya, no? So, hindi pwede equal sila, no? That's very wrong, no? So, what we're going to do is that we are going to write an equation we're going to express this table into this equation. No? So, maglalagay lang ako ng placeholder. I will write this as isotope A, this as isotope B, and this as isotope C. No? So, yan. No? So, I'm going to write atomic mass equal saan? So, that's the isotope. So, for the first muna, no? For the first isotope, we have the isotope A times the fractional abundance ni A plus isotope mass ni B times the fractional abundance ni B plus isotope mass ni C times the fractional abundance of C. No? So, yan yung meaning ng sum. No? You have to multiply all the products. No? So, ganun yung ginawa natin. Ito yung product ng A. Ito yung product ng B. Product of C. We add them all together. We get the average atomic mass now. Okay, so yun yung idea. We're going to write down the equation first. No? Just like I told you last time, diba? You write down equation first, no? In which you are going to work with. No? Sige, so then let's identify the variables for isotope mass A. That's 23.9850. Fractional abundance of A is question mark. Isotope mass of B is 24.9858. Fractional abundance of B is 10%. Isotope mass of C, this is 25.9826, and this one is question mark din, no? Sige. Mag-iisip tayo. Ay, pwede gawin dito. Sige. So, what I'm going to do next is I will plug in all the information, no? And I will place variables, no? Maglalagay ako ng variables for the unknown, no? This time, we have two unknowns. Wala, paano yun, no? Okay lang yan, madali lang yan, no? By the way, the atomic mass, sulat ko na rin. This is 24.305. No? So I'm going to write all the numbers that we know, and then I'm going to place variables. No? Sige. So I will write this equation as 24.305 equals 23.9850. Okay, so I don't know the fractional abundance of element A, so I am going to write that as X plus isotope mass would be 24.9858 times the fractional abundance of B, 10%, or in decimal, that's 0.1, plus the isotope mass of C times the fractional abundance of C. I don't know, but I will not use the same variable, huh? If I use X here, that means that these two are the same, no? But no, hindi ganun yung case, no? These are different isotopes, so there must be different variables to be used, no? So, sige. I will write this as Y and this as X. Siguro yung iba nagtatanong na, Sir, sabi mo last time, totoo naman eh. As I told you last time, there should be just one variable for one equation. Because if you have two unknowns or two variables that are unknown in your equation with just one equation, no, you will need to do the, ang tawag doon? System of linear equation, no? So yun. If you have two or more unknown variables, hence you have to have other equations that is linear, no? For you to solve the two unknowns, no? Kaya may mga sets of equation ka, no? Yung ginagamitan natin ng matrix sometimes, no? So yun. Or sometimes just, you'd subtract one equation to another, then you multiply this equation by this, then you get the two variables. No? But this time, we only have one equation, but we have two unknowns. Okay, so let's rationalize. Ano pwede natin gawin dito? Look at the FA, no? The fractional abundance. What do you think is the sum of all the fractional abundance? What is the sum of the fractional abundance? No? The answer should be 100%. No? Yung fraction abundance, imagine that as your pizza, di ba? So, pag hinati mo yung pizza, it corresponds to a certain percentage, di ba? So, yun. So, the sum of all the pizzas dapat, no? The sum of the fractional abundances, no, in that pizza should be 100%, no? So, that means the fractional abundance for A plus the fractional abundance for B plus the fractional abundance for C should all be equal to 100%, no? But ano yung alam natin, no? Fractional abundance of A is unknown. Fractional abundance of B is 10%. Fractional abundance of C is unknown. Then we have 100%, no? I'm going to move it to the other side. So I'll have fractional abundance of A plus fractional abundance of C is 100 minus, ay, pangit ng percent. 100% minus 10%, which is just 90%, diba? Sir, umagang-umaga nagsusolve tayo. Wala tayong magagawa. Okay. So with this equation, no, fractional abundance of A plus fractional abundance of C is just 90%, no? Then, sabi natin kanina, the fractional abundance of A is X. And the fractional abundance of C is Y. And the sum of the two is equal to 90%. No? This is not always the case. No? Hindi ito ganito parate. No? So, pag iba yung given, you have to do different equations. No? Pero the idea is the same. No? So, you're going to get the sum of the fractional abundance being equal to 100, then you will come up with this equation. No? Okay. So, sabi natin na we cannot solve for two variables na missing. No? So, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute one of the variables. Let's say, kunwari, gusto ko yung y. I want to change y in terms of x, no? So, pabalitan ko yung y ko in terms of x, no? So, paano yun, no? I have a supporting equation for that, no? So, using this equation, if I'm going to express y in terms of x, what I mean by that is I'm just going to write an equation for y. So, moving the x onto the other side, I will have y is equals to 90% minus x. Or in decimal, that's y equals 0.9 minus x. Now, I have the equation for the value of y. I'm going to use this, no? So, I can plug it in to this one. Susulat ko dito 0.9 minus x. No? So, again, what we did is that we just substituted the value of y in terms of x. Where did that value came from? Fractional abundance, no? So, yun lang yung meron tayo, eh, no? So, we really have to work around with our numbers, no? So, yun. So, saan uli nakuha ito? Itong 0.9 minus x. Fractional abundance, no? We just derived an equation in terms of y, no? So, we will only have one unknown variable. And let's see if ganun nga yung mangyayari. So, I'm going to plug in the 0.9 minus x and we'll check if we have one missing variable na lang. So, I'm going to rewrite this. 23.9850x 24.9858 times 0.1 plus 25.9826 times 0.9 minus x. So let's look at the equation. Do we have one unknown? Yes po. Ayan, so yes down, no? So yan, so we have one unknown na lang, di ba? So ano yung isang unknown na yon? Ito, x and yung x na yon. So that means we can now solve for this equation, no? We can now solve for the value of x. Sir, paano yung value of y, no? Once we are able to solve for the value of x, all we have to do is to plug in the value of x to get y. Diba? Ayan. Algebra lang to, ha? So, chillax lang. Okay. So, with this equation, I'm going to solve for x now. The first thing I have to do is to simplify all the parentheses, no? Pem dash. Di naman, no? Ayan, simplify ko lang. So I'm going to distribute this term into the terms inside the parentheses. No? I'm going to multiply this as well. No? And this one, multiply ko na yan dyan. No? Medyo tedious to. No? So please bear with me. This will take quite some time. What's 23.9850 times x? Edi 23.9850 x. Okay. So what's 24.9858 times 0.1? So I have to move the decimal point na lang. So I'll have 2.49858 na. That's 10% of the 24, diba? Okay. Plus, what's 25.9826 times 0.9? Hindi ko na kaya yan. Calculate na natin. So 25.9826 times 0.9 is 23.38434. By the way, please do not round off muna. No? So yan. So this times this is 23.98434. Okay. Then next term naman tayo. What's 25.9826 times negative x? So that's just negative 25.9826x. Ang daming nangyari. But yun. What's next is that we are going to combine all our x's. Sana all may x. Pag-combine natin yung dalawang x na yan. Para mas masaya ang buhay. So I'm going to combine 23 point something with negative something. I-combine ko na rin tong numbers na to. Okay? So, sige. So I'll have 24.305 equals, I'm going to add the x's na. So, negative yung number. Of course, negative yan. This is 23. This is negative 25. So, you will expect negative na 1.99726x. Okay, then I'm going to add the numbers na yun sa nasa gitna. That's 2.49858. Word ng ulan, no? May araw pero umuulan. May kinakasal na tikbalang. So 2.49858 plus 23.38434. So that's 25.8 88292. Okay. So what's next is I'm going to simplify this equation further. I will combine all the digits and all the variables with x. No, isa lang naman siya. That will be left behind, no? So I'm going to move this into the other side by subtracting the same number, no, on both sides, no. I'm not going to show it anymore kasi algebra na lang yan. Pero yun, the idea is we will subtract this number on both sides of the equation. So we can cancel it on the right side, no. So magiging ano yan, 24.305 minus 25.88292 equal to negative 1.9976x lang. Then, let's obtain the difference. 24.305 minus 25.88292. Negative 1.57792 equal negative 1.9976x. Then, we're going to solve for the value of x. No? So, to solve for the value of x, we are going to divide the equation by the coefficient of your x. No? So, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1.9976. Cancel, cancel. Oh, x na lang yun. Pag ganun. So, the value of x is 0.7899, or in terms of percent, that's 78.99%. So that is the value of x. Wow. So that is the value of x, 78.99. So I can go back sa table. Sabi ng x, fractional abundance A. So I will write, ano kayang color? Green na lang. 78.99% for the fractional abundance of A. Then, how about C? How about Y? Sabi natin, no, Y is just 90% minus X, no? Recall, Y is equals to 90% minus X, or 0.9 minus X if that is in decimal form, di ba? So, since we know the value of X being equal to 78.99, then 90% minus 78.99%, the value of Y is now 11.01%. So, with that, with the value of Y in mind, no, we can complete the table, no, as this one. We have 78.99% for the isotope mass of A, 10% for the isotope mass of B, that is given already, and 11.01% for the isotope mass of C. No? Yeah, so we originally have two unknowns, but we are able to come up with an equation that will give us only one unknown variable. No? Hence, we are able to solve for the question. Ayun, so ang dami na nangyayari, no? Parang kanina, nagsusubtract lang tayo, so mamaya nag-algebra na tayo, di ba? But the concept is the same, no? You still started with the same equation. Atomic mass equals sum of the product of isotope mass times the fractional abundance. Then, what we did is that we listed all the isotopes, A, B, C, their isotope masses, and their corresponding fractional abundance. Originally, we do not have value for the fractional abundance of A and C. So what we did is that we placed variables, no, to represent the fractional abundances of the two isotopes, A and C. So X for the fractional abundance of A, Y for the fractional abundance of C. But again, the question is, we have two unknowns. It would be impossible for us to solve for this kasi dalawa yung unknown. Pero hindi naman, no? Not really. Kasi ano ginawa natin? We expressed one unknown variables in terms of the other. So we can simplify the equation. No? So ginawa natin, we replaced y in terms of x, di ba? So yun yung idea na ginawa natin. Okay? So, paano tayo nakakuha ng ganon? We check this table again, no? So looking at the table, we have the fractional abundance of A, which is unknown, plus the fractional abundance of B, which is 10%, plus the fractional abundance of C, which is unknown, and all of those are equal to 100%, no? So all we did is to move the 10% to the right side so we can subtract it from the 100%, and we ended up with fractional abundance of A plus fractional abundance of C equal to 90%, no? Or in our equation, that is expressed as x plus y equals 90%. Then what we did is that we replaced y in terms of x, no? So by doing that, how are we going to do that? We just move the value of x to the right side, no? Para kasama niya si 90%. So we have y equals 0.9 minus x. We plugged in this equation into our former equation. So this is the 0.9 minus x. I plugged it in, and I ended up with this bunch of equation. 24 point something equals 23 point something times x plus the middle isotope plus the isotope C times the equation for the value of y, which is 0.9 minus x. And since we have one unknown variable na lang, the rest is algebra. So yan, so we solved for x and we found out that the value of x is 78.99%. Going back to solve for the value of y, all we have to do is to subtract x from 90. So that's 90 minus 78.99%, giving you a number or a percentage of 11.01%. So hence, our final answer is this one. Ang dami naman yan, sir. No? Don't worry. No? For the sake of this discussion, yan lang muna yung ating problem na ganyan. No? So, ayan. Chillax na lang tayo sa susunod. No? But just in case no, that you see that sa quiz nyo, you know what to do. No? Don't cry. No? So, you can solve for it naman. No? And you just recall your simple algebras. No? Be careful when transposing terms, no? Or adding terms, no? So, yan. Okay. Siguro you can revisit the video na lang, no? Or you can take a screenshot. Sige, screenshot nyo yun. Isang buo na yan, no? Screenshot nyo, then zoom nyo na lang. No? Hindi pala pantay mga equal sign to. Okay, magagalit yung prof ko yan. Okay, so any questions? Ayan, I think may question tayo. Kalang messenger. Kalang. May question po ba tayo? Ay. Panoorin ko nga ito. Wait lang. Kumakain na si Kyla. Ice cream. Stream ice cream daw. Pag di ko pa napapakinggan yan. So anyway. Wow, maths. Oh, sir, di po ko kumakain. Yung ano lang, yung Huwag kayo umiyak na, don't worry. Yan lang naman yung ganyang question dito. Pero sasimplihan natin siya pagdating sa quiz. Chillax lang, no? Sabi ko nga no, sa mga bata ko, even sa senior high, sabi ko sa kanila, as long as you know your algebra, you can live your life, no? Sir, paano po yung simple? Ayun no, nag-add lang tayo, nag-subtract lang, sir. True ba, sir? Simple lang sa quiz. Oo. By the way, you have your quiz 1 na, no? So, your quiz 1, ayun, you can check that on Canvas. The deadline is on Saturday. So you have plenty of time, no? You have 5 days. As I told you, 5 days talaga tayo. So you have 5 days to answer the quiz, no? If you have technical difficulties, especially in your internet connection, no, just let me know so I can give you access again. No? Yung coverage ng quiz in last time is yun, yung density, scientific notation, significant figures, matter, and na-discuss din sa lecture nyo, so on and so forth na. So yun. Ay, chillax lang kayo ha. Itong question lang yung mahirap, no? But yun, so let's try, you know, if you can solve number 4. Ayan, magsasolve na kayo ha. Sir, hindi yan scam. Nako po, siguro, I let my senior high school and college sa PUP mag-answer niya. Kasi, ginawa ko dati sa kanila. May pa-index card pa sila. Okay lang naman sa akin, index card. No? Tapos, ang feedback nila after the quiz, hindi rin naman daw nila nagamit yung index card. Yeah. So, yun. Yun. Pag ako kasi pa-quiz na medyo, I really love trickling the mind, no? Maganda yung may kiliti sa brain cells. Bait nyo naman, sir. May pa-index card. Hindi nga nila nagamit. Kayo nga, offline na yun, no? Kaya nyo na yun, no? But yun, so anyway, no? So I want you to answer number 4, no? So I will guide you in answering number 4. So sabi dyan, strontium has 4 isotopes with the following masses and their fractional abundances. 83.9134 atomic mass unit with a fractional abundance of 0.56%. 85.9094 atomic mass units with a fractional abundance of 9.86%. 86.9089 atomic mass units with a fractional abundance of 7%, and 87.9056 atomic mass units with a fractional abundance of 82.58%. So as you can see, all the isotope masses are given, and all the fractional abundances are also given, no? So that means you are just going to solve for the atomic mass, no? So how are you going to solve the atomic mass? No? Just use this equation. You multiply the isotope mass and the fractional abundance, then you sum it up, no? So I want you to answer number 4, no? So please screenshot nyo na siya. Okay. So screenshot nyo sa number 4, and I hope na may screenshot din kayo nito, no? For you to be guided. No? Although, yung solution for number 4 is not really ganito, no? So, hindi siya ganyan na nakakaiyak, no? So, chillax lang. Ayan. Screenshot nyo yan. Okay. Tapos, yung number 4 question. Madali lang yung number 4 kaysa sa number 3. Then, so, sige, I give you time, no? So, siguro 10 minutes for you to answer that, no? Sige. So, ako ay maglalako muna. Tabihan ko yung mga pusa. Sige. I'll go back to you by 9:45 na lang. Sige. I changed my mind, no? 5 minutes na lang pala. Kasi madali lang pala to. Para maaga na rin tayo makatapos, no? And actually, yan na pala yung last natin, no? Last item for this meeting. Sige. So yun, 5 minutes, then we will wrap up and we will end our classes by before 10 o'clock. No? Medyo matagal din pala discussion natin. Okay, so sige, sagot muna kayo. Kyla, Sir, ba't magkaiba yung answer pag inindot mo sa calcio, like buo na, then pinag-isa-isa mo isolve? Siguro, that's more on the decimal point na. Oo. Yung mga difference lang nila, that's usually because of the decimal points, no? Yan, mga, rounding off, rounding on, no? So, yan. But the idea should be pretty much the same, no? So, yan. And by the way, Merry Christmas po, no? September na. May sagot na si Shimbery. Sige. Siguro we'll wait for others. Merry Christmas, guys. Oo, Merry Bear Months, no? Kasi ito yung Bear Month na malungkot, no? Hindi tayo makalabas ng bahay. Very different yung Pasko ngayon, no? I can't imagine Christmas without simbang gabi, no? Although hindi ako Catholic, no? Pero wala lang, yung culture lang ng Christmas, nakamiss. Ayun, so may sagot na sila. Sir, pag-greet daw po si Jean, birthday niya bukas. Hi, happy birthday, Jean.
Thank you, sir.
Pag walang Shanghai, bagsak. Joke lang. Ayun, so happy birthday, no? Naway safe tayo lahat. No? At pagpalain ka ni Lord. Jean, sana makarating dito. No? Shanghai lang, no? Okay na kami. Pag wala talaga, nako.
Wala po akong handa.
Okay lang yan, no? Ang best birthday gift natin ngayon, safe pa lang tayo, no? Nakabuhay tayo. Sir, ano daw name ng cat nyo? So, actually, nung bata pa ako, no? Pinapangalanan ko yung cats ko. Pero, nung tumanda na ako, hindi na. Ang dami na nila eh. It's like I have 15 cats here with me. Like 15 sila. Yung dalawa, ito. Yung tatlo, hindi sila. Laro. Ayun sila. Matatandaan. since hindi ko na sila napangalanan, ang tawag ko na lang sa kanila is Bebe. Di ba? Sweet. Ming-ming na lang. Minsan Bebe, minsan Be. Minsan baby. Basta alam na nila yun. Iba-iba yung tono kada ibang pusa. No? Na all Bebe. Sir, cats or dog? 15 yung cats namin. Then we have 2 dogs. No? Pero I'm a cat person kasi. Low energy lang eh. Na all bebe, na all baby. Nabasa ko na Caroline. Ay, nasan ba yung ni Caroline? Saan ka nag-chat? Sa Canvas ba? Sa Teams, nag-chat ka dito? Personal ba? Teka lang, check ko. Wait lang. Sir, i-upload niyo po ba yung recorded? Oo, upload ko yan sa YouTube na. So, by the end of the day, I will upload it again on YouTube. Bakit sa YouTube na? Kasi pag hindi nyo pala na-access yung, pag di kayo nakasama dito sa video call natin, hindi nyo ma-access yung Teams, yung recording sa Microsoft Stream. And for me, medyo napagod ako mag-type in ng pangalan ng students. No? YouTube na lang para even if you have free video data na, you can watch that na. Sir, may hindi naman required yung pag-subscribe. Hindi ko pa nga naumpisan yung mga recordings eh. Kasi bumili ako ng microphone, no. Ang tagal ng Shopee mag-deliver, no. Tapos siguro next year iba na yung career ko, no. Siguro hindi na ako magtuturo. Kita nyo na ako, vlogger na lang ako. Diba? Sige, shout out kay Kyla daw. Mapapanood din mo naman nila to sa YouTube, no. Sir, ano po tawag sa... ganon. Wala naman akong fans. Sagot muna tayo. Gymnastics. Gym babies. Ewan ko sa inyo. Sige, so let's start answering number 4 so we can wrap up our discussion. Wrap up meaning mag-wrap tayo. Tapusin na natin, no? Tapusin na natin paghihirap natin ngayong araw. Number 4. So, ang dami yung answer na 87.62. So, let's see. So, isotope 1. 89, 9134, 56. 81.9134, 0.56%. Tama ba? 83. Ano ba yan? 83.9134.56. Tapos 85.9094. 9.86. Ano pa? 86, 90, 89. 86, 90, 89, 89. 86, 90, 89, 7%. And 87, 90, 56. 82, 58. Okay, so the solution is quite simple lang. So that's just atomic mass equal to the sum of the fractional abundance times isotope mass or vice versa. Parehas lang din naman yun eh. No? Okay, so what we can do, no? Ay, ano yung pusa? Ay, ito kan. Tumulog siya sa bintana. Kinabahan ako. Okay. So what we can do is gawa na lang tayo ng another table, no? Where this is the product of your IM times the FA, no? Para mabilis, no? Again, I will write the percentages into decimal, no? Okay, so let's begin. 83.9134 times 0.0056. Tama ba yung pagka-divide ko? 56, 100, 0.56. Then 85, 90, 94, 0.0986, then 86, 90, 89 times 0.07, 87.9056 times 0.8258. Okay, so I'm just going to multiply all of them and I will add them so I can get the atomic mass now. Sige, give me time na lang. 8. $85, $90, $94, $86, $90, $89. So the answer, check all that, plus 90, 94. Be careful sa calculator, ha? So yun. So the answer is 87.61664936 or 87.62. No? So all your answers are correct. No? So that's very nice for us. No? So, yeah. So I wanted to take a screenshot for your reference. No? Okay. So it seems that our comprehension for this topic is good naman. No? Sige. So yan, siguro if you have any questions, you can raise them now or forever hold your peace. No? Kasal lang. Okay, if you have any questions, you can raise them now. Then we will answer them. Pero kapag wala na, then let's call this a day. No? And I'll see you on Friday. No? Sige, siguro I'll give you some few minutes now. Okay, so any questions, guys, or clarifications regarding the subject matter? Or okay na tayo? Okay na ba kayo dyan? Okay na po. Okay, so sana all na. Okay na. Sige. So thank you, Shimbury. Maria Shimbury. Yan. Okay na po. Sige, nakaupo na po. Hindi, nakaupo na. Si Zoila. Sige. So, with that na, I think our... Sir, okay lang po yan, sir. Broken ka po ba? Hindi. Ang dami ko lang binayaran na bills, kaya malungkot. Goodbye pera agad eh. Bills. Kapag badulting, kala niya masaya. Hindi. Joke lang. Zoe na lang po. Sige, Zoe. Shim. Zoe Shim. Sige. And so, with that, no, if you do not have any questions, no, pag Zoe la para. Ay, mas malupit pag Zoe la Milan. So, sige. So, anyway, so with that, no, siguro, we met the objectives of this meeting naman is for you to recall the atoms and then its composition. By next meeting, we will continue our discussion on electronic configurations. No? So, mabilis lang yun. So, siguro mas maaga tayo matatapos on Friday. No? So, yun. Just few examples, then yan. I think that's all na. So, sige. So, thank you very much for your participation and I hope that you will have a safe September, no? Safe bare months with you in the future. Ayun, ano pa ba kailangan ko sabihin? The quiz is already open, no? So you can answer your quiz until September 5, Saturday. Anong oras yun? Anong oras yun? 12 midnight na. So yun. So you can submit until 11:59 on September 5, no? So yan. I hope you perform very well, no, sa quiz because remember, we only have 5 quizzes per term sa midterm, no? Puro quiz lang talaga tayo and then the exam, no? So yun. So I hope na you perform very well and madali lang ang quiz. By the way, if the pictures do not show up, no, kunwari, walang picture na lumabas, no, um, skip nyo na lang yan. Pero let me know na walang picture sa, ano nyo, walang picture sa quiz nyo, no. So you can comment it on the discussion page of this chapter na lang. Comment kayo sa discussion na, sir, walang picture dito. So I can check it, no, I can verify if it's true. Yan. So anyway, so with that, no, so thank you very much for your participation and hoping na may natutunan tayo today. So thank you very much and I'll see you on Friday. Sige, nagbabalik 97.1. Sige, stop recording na tayo. So yeah, so thank you very much and